The camera opens with a stark, dramatic image. A billionaire, his face frozen with regret, sits in the back of a dark, cold police car. Handcuffed, he stares blankly out of the window. The rain pounds against the glass. In the faint reflection of the window, the face of a small child is visible, barely 10 years old, watching the man through the raindrops. The camera slowly zooms in on the child's eyes that are filled with a mix of anger, disappointment, and confusion. The billionaire's hands tremble, his empire slipping away. The child presses a small hand against the glass, and the billionaire looks down at it, his heart heavy. The weight of his past decisions crushes him, but it's too late now. The voice of the narrator cuts through the tension. He built an empire, but he couldn't save her. The child slowly lowers their hand, turning away, vanishing into the shadows of the street. The billionaire, however, remains trapped, physically and emotionally. The scene transitions to a quiet, isolated office, high in a glass tower. The CEO, a woman in her mid-40s, sits alone at her desk. Her face is framed by the soft glow of the desk lamp. But her eyes tell a different story. They are red, swollen, and full of unshed tears. She stares down at a Time magazine, her face on the cover. It's supposed to be a celebration of success, a mark of her achievements, but all she feels is emptiness. Her empire, built through sacrifice and ruthless decisions, is starting to crumble. The weight of her loneliness and the quiet desperation that follows years of being at the top start to settle in. "I thought I could handle it," she mutters to herself, rubbing her temples. "But I can't do this anymore." Her reflection in the glossy magazine cover stares back at her, empty and broken. The empire she once built now seems like a hollow dream. The camera pans across the room, capturing the silence. Papers are scattered on the desk, signs of the chaos she's been fighting to keep under control. Her phone buzzes with another reminder of her failing company. Another deadline missed. Another board meeting where her power is questioned. She picks up the phone, staring at the glowing screen for a moment, before tossing it aside. "No one understands. No one ever did," she says softly, more to herself than anyone else. She stands up, pacing the room, trying to shake off the feeling of being trapped in a gilded cage. She has everything: wealth, power, influence, yet she feels like she's losing everything, piece by piece. She stands in front of the window, looking out at the city below, but it feels distant, as though she's staring at a different world altogether. "I thought I could do it," she whispers, her voice breaking. A sharp knock on the door breaks the silence. The CEO quickly wipes her eyes and straightens up, composing herself. She doesn't want anyone to see her like this. She tells them to enter. A young assistant walks in, offering a stack of papers. "I've prepared the board meeting notes for tomorrow," the assistant says, unaware of the CEO's emotional turmoil. The CEO nods, forcing a smile. "Thank you," she replies, taking the papers and flipping through them absent-mindedly. Her mind is elsewhere. She doesn't want to deal with this now, not with everything else on her plate. She looks at the assistant one last time before dismissing her, the smile fading from her face as soon as the door closes behind her. The weight of leadership and responsibility feels too much to bear. She sinks back into her chair, overwhelmed. The night grows later, and the CEO remains seated, the weight of her responsibilities pressing down on her. She stands up again, her eyes briefly catching a photo frame on the shelf. It's a picture of her daughter, a small girl, grinning with a missing tooth, eyes full of hope. She stares at the photo for a moment, a flicker of warmth crossing her face, but the warmth is fleeting. The phone buzzes again. Another call from her lawyer. Another crisis to manage. She grabs the phone and stares at it for a moment, her fingers hovering over the screen. "I can't keep doing this," she whispers. She looks back at her daughter's picture and sighs deeply, her chest tightening with the weight of guilt. "I'm failing her," she mutters under her breath. The phone buzzes once more, snapping her out of her thoughts. She answers it, putting on the mask of the CEO once again. The internal war continues, the battle between family and empire, where no victory will come without sacrifice. The scene opens with a young boy, no older than 8, sitting alone in a small, quiet store. The fluorescent lights buzz above him, casting an unflattering glow on the aisles of cheap toys. He clutches a half-empty cup of soda, his eyes darting nervously between the aisles. His clothes are slightly tattered, a sign of his family's struggles. His mother is at the counter, speaking softly to the store clerk, her voice barely audible. She is begging for a job, any job. But the store clerk looks away, avoiding eye contact. Her face flushes with humiliation as she turns away, her shoulders slumping. The boy's eyes well up with tears, his heart breaking not for himself, but for her. "We'll get through this, Mom," he whispers to himself, even though he knows he can't do much. It's a promise he's too young to keep but already feels the weight of. In that moment he understands, life isn't about waiting for miracles, it's about survival. The scene shifts to a high-rise corporate building. The CEO, now younger and at the start of her journey, stands outside a large glass door. Her heart beats loudly in her chest as she prepares to walk into the boardroom for the first time. The door is heavy, and she hesitates before pushing it open. On the other side of the door, a sea of faces stares back at her. They are older, more experienced, and already skeptical of her abilities. She had worked tirelessly to get here, but the fear of rejection lingers. She adjusts her posture, fighting the wave of self-doubt that rises in her chest. As she steps forward, she's determined to prove them all wrong. She's learned over the years that being underestimated can be her greatest strength. "They think I'm not enough," she says to herself quietly, "but I'll show them what I can do." The door clicks shut behind her, and she walks into the unknown, ready to face whatever comes next. The camera cuts back to the boy, still sitting in the same store, but now his expression has hardened. He's older, maybe 15 or 16, and the weight of his family's financial struggles has taken its toll on him. He no longer spends time in stores like these for fun. He's here for business, eyeing the same shelves he used to play on. His mother is busy, too distracted by her own internal battles to notice him. He reaches for an item on the shelf, an old, worn-out backpack. His fingers brush it gently, but he pulls his hand back before taking it. It's all he can afford, his hopes and dreams wrapped in something so simple. One day, he thinks to himself, "What? One day, we'll be able to buy whatever we want." He carries the weight of responsibility now, like a chain that drags him forward, but it also propels him into action. The ambition that once seemed so far out of reach is now becoming a driving force. In the corporate boardroom, the CEO stands before a sea of disinterested executives, her pitch ready. The air feels thick, her nerves building with every second. She begins, her voice steady at first, but quickly rising as she speaks about her vision, her dreams. It's all she has, her words and her ideas. She looks around the room, searching for some sign of support, but she sees only judgment in their eyes. Her heart races, but she doesn't stop. "This company needs something new, something bold," she declares, her voice growing louder. The room falls silent. For a brief moment she wonders if she's failed. But then one of the executives speaks up, questioning her. The CEO holds her ground, refusing to back down. "You can doubt me now," she says, locking eyes with the executive. "But in the end, you'll see I was right." The air crackles with tension as the first seeds of conflict are planted. The battle has just begun. The boy now stands in front of his mother, holding a small envelope in his hands. It's a letter from a job application he'd submitted weeks ago, a lifeline. He hands it to her with a hopeful smile, his heart pounding. "I did it, Mom," he says softly, his voice barely above a whisper. She looks at the envelope, her eyes filling with tears as she takes it from him. "You did it?" she asks, her voice cracking. The boy nods, his smile wide despite the uncertainty in his heart. The mother opens the letter, her hands trembling. Her eyes skim the contents, and then she breaks down, her sobs quiet at first, then louder. She pulls him into an embrace, overwhelmed with gratitude and love. It's not a guaranteed success, but for the first time in a long while, hope flickers in their lives. The boy holds her tightly, whispering promises of a better future, even though he knows they still have a long way to go. The CEO, now in her early 30s, is sitting alone in a minimalist office that reflects the growth of her company. The desk in front of her is cluttered with papers, proposals, and contracts, all symbols of the mountain of responsibility she carries. The world outside the window looks vast, but the weight of it all is starting to press down on her. Her phone buzzes constantly, each notification a reminder of the countless decisions she has to make. She's pushed her team to their limits, working late nights, missing birthdays, and skipping family events. She hasn't seen her daughter in weeks, and the guilt gnaws at her. What's the cost of all this? She wonders aloud. The numbers are up, the contracts are signed, but her heart feels heavier than ever. The company is thriving, but she's losing pieces of herself along the way. She pauses for a moment, her fingers trembling as she picks up a picture of her daughter from the desk. "Is it worth it?" she whispers. The question lingers in the quiet of the room. The camera shifts to the boy, now in his late teens, as he stands in a dilapidated warehouse. He's overseeing the loading of boxes into a truck. His expression is hard, focused, a sharp contrast to the boy who once sat quietly in that store. His mother is by his side working as hard as he is, but she's worn thin, the lines on her face more pronounced than before. The business they've started is growing, but so are the sacrifices. The boy's muscles ache from the long hours, but he knows they can't stop now. Every hour they work, every deal they make, is a step closer to getting out of the life they've known. His phone buzzes, a text from a friend asking him to come out for a night. The temptation to relax, to feel like a normal teenager again is there, but he ignores it. "Not yet," he says under his breath. "We'll get there, but not yet." The weight of responsibility is becoming too much to bear, but the fire in his heart keeps him pushing forward. Back in the CEO office, the pressure is mounting. A massive presentation is scheduled for the next day, a pitch to secure funding for the next phase of her company's expansion. Her team is nervous, and so is she. Every time she rehearses her pitch, she notices the cracks in her delivery. The enthusiasm she once had for the company feels like it's slipping away, replaced by exhaustion. Her mind drifts to the time she's lost with her daughter and the relationships she's neglected in her pursuit of success. Her phone buzzes again, this time with a message from her daughter. "Mom, I miss you." She stares at the message for a long moment before placing the phone face down on her desk. She can feel the weight of the choices she's made, and the road ahead seems more uncertain than ever. "Tomorrow's the day," she says quietly, her voice filled with both resolve and doubt. Her gaze lingers on the city outside the window, but her mind is elsewhere, torn between the woman she's become and the mother she wants to be. The boardroom is filled with tension as the CEO stands before the investors, her pitch ready. She's practiced every word, rehearsed every gesture, but today, something is different. The pressure is suffocating. As she speaks, she can feel the sweat on her palms, the uncertainty in her voice. The investors remain stoic, but their eyes are filled with skepticism. She pushes through, her voice gaining strength with every word, but the cracks are visible. "This is our chance to redefine the market," she says, her gaze shifting from face to face, searching for approval. There's a moment of silence before an investor speaks up, questioning the viability of her plan. Her heart sinks, but she doesn't back down. "I believe in this company," she says, her voice steady despite the inner turmoil. The room feels like it's closing in, the walls pressing against her, but she refuses to show weakness. The pitch is far from perfect, but she knows this is the moment that will define her future. The boy is now sitting in a cramped apartment, his mother across from him, holding a letter from the bank. Her hands are shaking as she opens it, and the tension in the room is palpable. The boy knows what it is even before she reads it aloud. "We've been approved for a loan." The relief is immediate, but it's fleeting. The weight of what it means settles in. They've taken on even more debt, further entrenching themselves in this business. "This is it, Mom," the boy says, his voice a mix of excitement and anxiety. "We can really make this work now." His mother nods, tears welling up in her eyes. She embraces him tightly, overwhelmed by the moment. The boy holds her back, but inside, he feels a sense of unease. This is the first step toward success, but at what cost? The road ahead is still uncertain, and the sacrifices will only grow. "We'll make it work," he whispers, but even he isn't sure if he believes it. The CEO stands in her office, staring at a document in her hands. Her heart pounds as she reads the contents for the third time, unable to fully process what she's seeing. The letter from her co-founder, the one person she trusted most in this journey, reveals a shocking truth. Their partnership was never truly equal. Her co-founder, her own sibling, had secretly been siphoning money from the company for years, manipulating the books, hiding crucial deals. The realization hits her like a physical blow. The empire she built, the foundation she thought was strong, was built on lies. She places the letter down slowly, her hands trembling. Her mind races. How could she not have seen it? How long had this been going on? The weight of betrayal crushes her. The business, her life's work, is now tainted, and everything she's fought for could come crashing down. She closes her eyes, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "How do I fix this?" she whispers to the empty room. The boy stands in the middle of the warehouse, staring at a pile of unopened bills and letters scattered across the desk. His heart races as he picks up one of the envelopes and opens it. The contents are devastating. A notice of foreclosure. The loan they took out to grow the business has defaulted, and now the bank is taking everything. Their warehouse, their equipment, their future. He drops the letter, his hands trembling. How did it come to this? They worked so hard, pushed through sleepless nights and constant setbacks, and now everything is slipping through their fingers. His mother walks in, holding a stack of papers, her face ashen. She sees the letter and collapses into a chair, her hands over her face. The boy stands frozen, the weight of it all crashing down on him. His world, their world, is falling apart. "I thought we were close," he says, his voice barely audible. "How could this happen?" The CEO stands outside the door of a high-end restaurant, her hands trembling as she clutches her phone. The night is cold, and the wind cuts through her suit as she stares at the glowing screen. The message on her phone is from her mentor, the one person she thought would always have her back. It's a confession. The mentor has been embezzling funds from the company, using their trust and influence to pocket millions for personal gain. Her mentor, the person who guided her through the toughest moments, had been a fraud all along. Her empire, which once felt invincible, is now crumbling. The weight of the betrayal is too much to bear. She stares at the phone screen for a moment longer before shoving it into her pocket and walking away. Her eyes are red, her body stiff with rage and disbelief. "How did I not see this coming?" she thinks as she walks into the restaurant, her footsteps echoing in the night. The boy sits at the edge of his bed, staring at the walls of the small apartment he shares with his mother. The world around him feels suffocating. Foreclosure, the mounting debt, and the weight of responsibility have worn him thin. He should have been focusing on his future, on his own life, but instead, he's been carrying the weight of his mother's dreams on his shoulders. He can feel himself cracking under the pressure. He reaches for his phone, but his finger hovers over the screen. He doesn't want to make the call, but he knows he has no choice. He's exhausted mentally and emotionally. "I can't do this anymore," he says to himself, the words barely escaping his lips. "I've lost everything I fought for." He takes a deep breath and presses the dial button. It's time to ask for help, time to call in a favor, time to face the truth that he can't do it alone. The CEO sits in her office, her head in her hands, utterly defeated. The realization has hit her. Everything she built is based on lies. Her co-founder, her mentor, and the people she trusted most have all betrayed her. The company's future is in jeopardy, and the collapse feels inevitable. She can't focus. The walls of her office seem to close in around her, suffocating her with the enormity of her failure. "I've lost everything," she whispers, her voice cracking. She looks at the framed picture of her daughter on the desk, but even that feels distant now. She feels alone, abandoned by the very people she trusted to help her build this empire. The phone rings on her desk, but she doesn't move to answer it. She doesn't know what to do next. Everything is crumbling, and she is powerless to stop it. The CEO stands at the front of a massive boardroom, the weight of the room's gaze pressing down on her. The moment of truth has arrived. She holds the fate of the company in her hands, a decision that could either save or destroy everything she's worked for. Her eyes scan the room, the board members, the investors, the partners, all waiting for her to make a choice. She can feel the tension in the air, a silence so thick that it almost suffocates her. The numbers she's presenting are flawless, but her mind is elsewhere. She knows the truth now. The company has been built on shaky foundation. The financials are solid, but her trust, her relationships, her integrity, they're fractured beyond repair. She takes a deep breath. This vote, this decision, will either secure the company's future or cause it to implode. It's not just about the numbers, she says, her voice steady but filled with emotion. It's about the people who built it. It's about what we've become. The room is dead silent. This is it. She's made her choice. The boy is sitting in the back of a crowded bar, the noise of laughter and clinking glasses muffled around him. He should be celebrating. They've just secured a major deal that could turn the tide for the business. But all he feels is emptiness. He clutches his phone in his hand, staring at the screen, reading a message from his mother. "I'm proud of you, but don't lose yourself in this." The words echo in his mind. He's pushed himself so hard to get to this point, sacrificing everything. His friends, his dreams, his youth. Now, the weight of success feels suffocating. He glances around the bar, seeing others his age carefree. But he knows he's too far gone. His life has become a series of business deals, deadlines, and obligations. He takes a long sip from his glass, staring into the reflection of himself in the drink. What am I doing? He wonders. Is this who I've become? The CEO steps out of the elevator, walking towards the executive floor with determination. The weight of the decision she made still hangs over her. She has chosen to risk everything. Her reputation, her legacy, her company, for what she believes is right. She knows that many of the people in the room will not agree with her decision, but she's at peace with it. As she walks down the hall, she thinks of her daughter, of the moments she's missed, of the sacrifices she's made. She has given so much to this company, but now, it's time to make things right. She reaches the door to her office and stops, her hand resting on the handle. In that moment she realizes she's not just fighting for the company, she's fighting for herself, for the person she's always wanted to be. She opens the door, stepping into the unknown. The stakes have never been higher. This is the moment that defines everything. The boy sits at the table with a business partner, papers and contracts spread out before them. The deal they've been negotiating for weeks is finally about to close. It's a huge win, one that could turn everything around for the company. The weight of it is immense. His partner is speaking excitedly about the future, but the boy is distracted. He's thinking about the future, yes, but also the cost of what they're about to sign. The pressure is too much. "This is everything we've worked for," his partner says, looking at him expectantly. The boy nods, but his mind is racing. He's already sacrificed so much to get to this point, and now, it feels like one more piece of himself will be lost. The deal is signed. His partner smiles, but the boy feels no relief. Instead, a heavy silence fills the air. The deal is done, but so is a part of him. He feels the emptiness settle deeper into his chest. The CEO stands alone in front of a window, looking out at the city below. The decision she made earlier now feels irreversible. She chose to cut ties with the past, to take risks that would either save or destroy her. Her phone buzzes with a new notification, a message from her daughter. "I miss you, Mom." The weight of the message hits her like a punch in the stomach. She has sacrificed so much, but is it worth it? "I thought I could have it all," she whispers to herself. But the truth is, she can't have everything. There is always a cost. And yet there's a small glimmer of hope. She's done what she believes is right, and that's all she can control. She turns away from the window. the city now a blur in the background. Whatever happens next, she knows she can't go back. The future is uncertain, but she is finally ready to face it. The CEO stands in the parking lot of her office building, staring at the place she's dedicated her life to. The weight of the past few weeks, the betrayals, the decisions, the losses, still sits heavy on her shoulders. She's made it through the storm, but she's changed. She doesn't recognize herself anymore. The company has survived, but at what cost? She thinks about her daughter, the time she lost, the relationships that have crumbled. She walks slowly to her car, the sound of her heels echoing in the empty lot. "I thought I could save it all," she whispers to herself. But the truth is, she couldn't. She couldn't save her family, her friendships, or even herself. But she has saved the company, and that, she tells herself, has to be enough. As she gets into the car and drives away, she realizes that the journey isn't over. It's only just begun, and she has to rebuild. But this time, from the ground up. The boy stands in front of his mother, his face a mix of exhaustion and relief. The business has survived, but their financial future remains uncertain. "We've made it this far," his mother says, her voice thick with emotion. "But what do we do now?" The boy looks at the piles of paperwork, the contracts, the debts. It's all too much, and yet, it's all they have left. He takes a deep breath and says, "We keep going." He's learned that this is the only way forward. There's no going back, no easy path. The road is long and the sacrifices will continue, but they'll face it together. They may not have it all, but they still have each other. "We'll find a way," he says, holding her gaze. His words are more than a promise. They're the only thing left to hold on to. And in this moment, despite all the pain and loss, it's enough. The CEO stands in front of her mirror at home, her reflection staring back at her. The woman in the mirror is different now, older, more tired, but stronger. She reaches for the photo of her daughter that sits on the vanity, the one that's been there since the beginning. She smiles softly at the photo, a bittersweet feeling tugging at her heart. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'll make it right." She turns away from the mirror and walks out of the room, feeling the weight of the past and the promise of the future. There's no magic solution, no perfect redemption. But she knows now that the road ahead will be hers to walk, one step at a time. And in that moment, she feels a sense of peace. She can't change what's been lost, but she can change what comes next. The boy steps outside into the fresh air, the cool breeze brushing against his face. He looks up at the sky, a moment of stillness in his chaotic world. Everything has changed. The business has grown, but so has his understanding of what truly matters. He's no longer the same boy who was driven only by ambition and success. He's learned that there's more to life than winning. His phone buzzes in his pocket, a message from his mother. "We did it." He smiles and closes his eyes, taking in the quiet moment before returning to the hustle. The journey is far from over, but he knows now that he's no longer alone. The weight of his past struggles will always be there, but so will the strength he's gained. And for the first time in a long while, he feels a sense of peace. The CEO walks out of her house, her steps deliberate, but lighter than before. She's made peace with the choices she's had to make. There's no undoing the past, but she can control what comes next. Her daughter runs up to her, a bright smile on her face. The CEO bends down to hug her, feeling the warmth of the embrace. "I'm here now," she whispers. "I'm really here." It's a promise she's finally able to keep. As they walk down the path together, the weight of the past seems a little lighter, and the future a little brighter. There's still much to do, but for the first time in years, she feels like she's on the right path. She's found the balance she's been searching for, between work and family, sacrifice and redemption. The journey isn't over, but she's ready to face it with a newfound sense of purpose. The camera opens on the CEO sitting at a small, cozy dinner table in her home, the warm glow of candles flickering around her. Her daughter, now older, sits across from her, both of them sharing a quiet meal together. It's an ordinary moment, one they've both been waiting for. The CEO's hands are wrapped around a cup of tea, her expression soft and serene, a stark contrast to the intensity of her earlier life. She gazes at her daughter, a small smile playing on her lips as her daughter talks about her day, oblivious to the weight of the past. For a fleeting moment, everything feels as it should be. "I'm sorry I missed so much," the CEO murmurs, her voice full of emotion. Her daughter pauses, looking at her with a gentle smile, her eyes filled with understanding. "You're here now, Mom. That's what matters." It's a simple statement, but it carries all the love and forgiveness the CEO has longed for. The noise of the world outside fades as the two of them are finally present for each other, a feeling that the CEO hasn't known in years. The CEO and her daughter step out onto their front porch, looking out over the quiet street. The sun is setting in the distance, casting a golden hue across the landscape. The breeze is gentle, and for the first time in a long while, the CEO feels a deep sense of peace. She looks at her daughter, who is now holding her hand. "I've always wanted to be the person who could do it all," the CEO says quietly, her voice filled with a mix of nostalgia and acceptance. "But now, I see I've had to give up pieces of who I was to get here." Her daughter squeezes her hand. "It's okay, Mom. You're enough." The CEO smiles, a tear slipping down her cheek. She has spent so many years chasing perfection, but in this moment she understands that she is enough, just as she is. The camera pans up to show the sun dipping below the horizon, signaling the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. The boy now stands in a new office, looking out the window at the bustling city below. The skyline is different, but it's his now. He's come a long way from the kid who once sat in that run-down store. The business is thriving, and he's surrounded by a new team, a team he's built with care, not just ambition. He thinks back to the sacrifices, the pain, and the long nights, but now there's a sense of fulfillment. He's not chasing success anymore. He's building something that lasts, something with purpose. His phone buzzes in his pocket. It's a text from his mother. "I'm proud of you." He smiles, his heart swelling with a sense of achievement. "We made it," he whispers to himself, the weight of his journey lifting as he looks forward to the future, not as a burden, but as an opportunity to create something real. The CEO walks back into her office, but this time it's different. The space feels lighter, not weighed down by the corporate pressure or the sacrifices of her past. She sits at her desk and looks at the framed photo of her daughter on the corner of her desk. She picks it up, her fingers brushing over the glass. The office feels like a place of possibility now, not a battlefield. As she glances around, she realizes that the journey wasn't about creating an empire. It was about finding balance, about reconnecting with the things that truly matter. She smiles, a small but genuine smile, the weight of her years of struggle finally lifting. "This is who I was meant to be," she says to herself, as the camera slowly zooms out. She's not just a CEO anymore. She's a mother, a woman, and someone who has learned what it means to be whole. The final shot lingers on the CEO, standing by the window in her office, her back to the city skyline as the sun rises. The sky is streaked with hues of orange and pink, symbolizing new beginnings. The CEO turns, looks down at her desk, and then up at the city beyond. Her phone buzzes with a text. It's from her daughter. The message reads, "You did it. I'm so proud of you." A single tear falls down the CEO's cheek as she gazes out at the horizon. It's been a long journey, filled with sacrifice, betrayal, and loss. But she's here, standing tall, no longer chasing an illusion of perfection. She's found peace, not in success but in connection. The camera pulls back slowly, leaving her standing in her office, looking out into the future. The voiceover echoes one final line. "He left the company, but never left her." The screen fades to black.